Croeso pawb to part 2 of the PlayStation Indies PSN sale. This sale ends on the 10th of March, so that's your last day to pick up these deals. Let's continue with the games. And now we have Iron Curtain from Matryoshka with Love. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the low price of £2.39, which is really good. Be careful because the Revolution edition is also on sale, but it only includes the soundtrack and a theme, which is pretty pointless to me, so stick with the base version. This is a point-and-click adventure where you play as Evan, a goofy journalist who gets pulled into a tale of espionage between two nations, and hilarity ensues. Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth is next. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on a 90% discount for the low price of £3.49. This is a story-driven adventure game based on the best-selling book, where you play through the events surrounding the building of a cathedral in 12th century England, and your decisions in the gameplay allow you to change the story of the book and experience multiple different endings. Another game for PS Plus members only, Knockout League. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and is on a 50% discount for a price of £7.99 if you've got PS Plus. This is a VR arcade boxing game, where you get to fight a cast of crazy characters to become the champion of the Knockout League. I'll be honest, it's not as good as Creed, but if you're looking for some more VR boxing, then this is one of your few options. More Scary next. Layers of Fear Masterpiece Edition. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on at least a 65% discount for a price of £4.49 or £6.29 if you don't have PS Plus. This edition includes the story expansion, and the game is a survival horror series where you explore a vast and constantly changing Victorian-era mansion, delving into the mind of an insane painter. This game was loved on release, and is well thought of now. Highly recommended. Limbo and Inside bundle is next. It was released in 2020, so it's 1 year old, but the games are older than that. It's on a 75% discount for a price of £5.49, which is really good for 2 games. These games are both puzzle platformers and have a pretty dark aesthetic to their gameplay. They were both critically acclaimed when they released as well, so it's a really high quality bundle of games. More Scary now, Little Nightmares Complete Edition. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on a 75% discount for a price of £5.99, which is really good because it includes the Secrets of the Maw expansion. This is a horror puzzle platformer where you must help 6 escape the Maw, which is a vast and mysterious vessel, all the while confronting your childhood fears along the way. Next is Lords of the Fallen Complete Edition. This was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and is on an 85% discount for the low price of £3.74. This is a Souls-like game inspired by Norse mythology, and it includes the Ancient Labyrinth expansion, Monk Decipher quest, additional weapons, armor and boosters, for a complete package. Up next is Machinarium. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and is on a 75% discount for the low price of £2.99. This is an award-winning point-and-click adventure, where you help Joseph the Robot save his kidnapped girlfriend Berta from the Black Cat Brotherhood gang by solving puzzles in a beautifully hand-drawn world. Masters of Anemia is next. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and is on a 70% discount for a price of £2.39, which is really cheap. This is an RTS where you command an army of up to 100 guardians to save your betrothed Anna from the terrible Tsar and his fearsome golems. Up next is Moonlighter. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and is on at least a 60% discount for a price of £4.79 or £6.39 if you don't have PS Plus. Now be careful because the complete edition is on sale, but it's more expensive than buying them separately if you have a PS Plus account. So if you want it all, and you have a PS Plus account, buy them separately. Don't buy the complete edition. This is an action RPG and looks like a bit of a Zelda rip-off, where you get to run a shop selling items you collect from adventuring into other realms through an archaeological gateway. It has beautiful graphics and looks like a lot of fun. Moss is next. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and is on a 60% discount for a price of £9.99, which is really good. It's never gone cheaper than this yet. This is a really high quality VR adventure puzzle game where you help the little mouse Quill travel to forgotten realms, solving puzzles and battling menacing enemies to save her uncle from danger. This game is a first party title and the quality shows. Highly recommended for PSVR owners. Up next is Necropolis: A Diabolical Dungeon Delve. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 84% discount for the low price at £2.55. This is a roguelike game with 4-player online co-op, where you get to explore procedurally generated dungeons full of traps, items, treasures, and enemies. Neon Chrome is next. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for a price of £3.59, which is really good. This is a roguelike twin-stick shooter with 4-player local co-op, where you battle your way through cybernetic enemies and futuristic levels to defeat the Overseer, with each playthrough promised to never be the same. Never Alone Arctic Collection is next. This was released in 2015, so it's 6 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £3.19, which is really good, since this edition includes the extra DLC levels. This is a puzzle platformer, based on a traditional Inupiaq tale of a young girl and fox as they search for the source of an eternal blizzard, and it also includes documentary video and information regarding the story and Inupiaq people, so it's pretty cool and educational as well. I've completed this game and I love it, it's great. Up next is a bargain, Never Out. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for 97 pence, which is ridiculously cheap, especially for a VR game. This is a VR puzzle game with optional move controller support, where you puzzle your way through 60 puzzles contained within linked cube-shaped rooms by manipulating the gravity around you. I love VR, and for under £1, you can't go wrong if you love puzzle games. Next Machina is next. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on a 70% discount for the price of £4.79, which is pretty good. This game's a twin-stick shooter that has local co-op and over 100 challenging levels in 6 different intense worlds, with leaderboards, secret levels, paths, and humans to find and save. And it also has a really awesome sci-fi futuristic aesthetic to it. 9 Parchments is up next. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a price of £3.99, which is pretty good. This is a top-down RPG with 4-player online co-op, where you play as a group of runaway wizards out to collect the lost 9 parchments and complete their spellbooks. On to Not a Hero. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the low price of £1.49. This is an action platformer where you play as a professional assassin who has been tasked to clean up the city the only way you know how, by murdering all the criminals. It's old school now, with Oddworld New and Tasty Complete Edition. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, but it's based on the game much older than that really. It's on a 75% discount for a price of £4.24. This edition includes the Alpha's Escape expansion, alternate costume, and a PS4 theme. This game is a puzzle platformer and a complete remake of the legendary PlayStation 1 Abe's Odyssey game, where you must escape with your people to gain your freedom. Outcast Second Contact is next. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, but it's based on a much older game. It's on a 90% discount for the low price of £3.99, and it's an open-world adventure and a complete remake of the cult classic, where you play as Cutter Slade, an elite soldier sent on a last resort mission to an alien planet to decide the destiny of 2 universes. Next up is Outlast. It was released in 2014, so it's 7 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for a price of £2.32, which is really cheap. This game is a survival horror with extreme content, so beware. You play an investigative journalist trapped in the Mount Massive Asylum, and now you must make your way through the mansion to safety. The DLC is also on sale for £1.10 if you're interested, and the sequel is also on sale for 85% discount, £3.74, but it's not as good as the first. Next up is Oxenfree. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of 79 pence. This is a critically acclaimed story-driven adventure where you play as Alex, part of a group of teenagers who unwittingly open a ghostly rift on an island with multiple paths and endings to the story. VR next. Paranormal Activity: The Lost Soul. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on at least a 60% discount for a price of £5.99, or £7.99 if you don't have PS Plus. This is a VR horror game with optional move controller support. Based on the popular films, you explore a house to unravel the mysteries of its past, but you soon find out that you're not alone. Next we have PixelJunk Shooter Ultimate. It was released in 2014, so it's 7 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the low price of £1.89. This pack includes the first game and its sequel. They're both twin-stick shooter adventure games, and they have 2-player local co-op. In these games you explore, solve puzzles, and beat huge bosses in order to save your fellow scientists while unveiling the mysteries of an ill-fated research expedition. I've completed the first game of this and I loved it. They're really cool, fun games. Next is Punch Club. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the low price of £1.99. This is a boxing management game, and after your father was murdered before your eyes, you must train hard to work your way up the rankings and earn your place in the ranks of the Punch Club to find out who killed your father. The game includes branching storylines and multiple endings to keep it fresh on replays. A unique game is next, World. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on a 75% discount for the price of £3.99, which is really good. This is a survival platformer, where you're at the bottom of the food chain. As a slug cat, you must hide in order to survive while exploring to solve the mystery of your world. This is a very unique and different game that I would definitely recommend if you're looking for something different. Regions of Ruin is next. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £1.99, which is okay. This is a 2D side-scrolling RPG where you rescue and recruit fellow dwarfs to strengthen your township, while exploring further into the continent yourself. More scary, Remothered Tormented Fathers. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and is on at least a 70% discount for a price of £6.24 or £7.49 if you don't have PS Plus. This game is a survival horror where you play as Rosemary Reed, who arrives at Felton's house in search of a missing little girl. But when the hosts realise your intentions, a terrifying ordeal begins. This looks like a really awesome game for an indie developer. Very highly recommended if you like survival horrors. Next up is Rise and Shine. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on a 75% discount for a price of £2.99, which is pretty good. This is an action platformer where your planet has been attacked by the space grunts from Next Gen, and you play as Rise, who acquires a sacred gun named Shine, who must now fight back to free your world from the invaders. Ruiner is next. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on a 75% discount for a low price of £3.99, which is good. This is another twin-stick shooter, and is set in 2091, where you are a wired sociopath who teams up with a secretive hacker friend in order to fight a corrupt system and rescue your brother. Runbow is next. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and is on an 80% discount for a price of £2.39, which is really good. This is a competitive multiplayer platformer with a ton of modes for you and your friends to compete against each other in. It has 4-player local co-op and 9-player online multiplayer, and is basically the ultimate couch co-op game for friends. Next we have Seasons After Fall. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the low price of £1.59. This is a puzzle platformer where you must guide a wild fox on a journey through a beautiful land to meet the 4 guardians, while using your ability to switch between the 4 seasons to solve the puzzles along the way. More VR for PS Plus members only. Separation. It was released in 2020, so it's only a year old, and is on a 50% discount for the price of £5.99 if you've got PS Plus. This is a VR adventure with no move controller support. In the game you awake in a barren landscape of rocks and dust, and a voice whispers in your head telling you that it's been a long time since anyone last visited, and now you must explore the world to solve its mysteries. A unique game now, Serial Cleaner. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the low price at £2.39. This is a puzzle game where you are a cleaner, a professional crime scene cleaner for the mob. So you sneak around crime scenes avoiding detection and remove all the evidence, including bodies, blood and weapons. This game looks very cool and awesome to me. I'm definitely interested. Next is Zoom, Speedrunners from Hell. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for the price of £3.89, which is pretty good. This is a first-person platformer, where you have to speedrun the whole game, by running, jumping, teleporting, flying, bouncing and dropping in 100 merciless levels to save your soul from hell. This looks pretty different, and must be amazing for speedrun fans. Next is Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on a 90% discount for the low price of £4.49. This game is a stealth RTS where you control a group of 5 assassins with different abilities. It's set in the Edo period of Japan where you infiltrate and kill enemies in a variety of locations, such as castles, monasteries and forest camps, and it plays a bit like the old Commando games if you remember them. This game looks very awesome to me. Highly recommended if you like stealth games. Shadow Warrior 2 is next. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on at least a 75% discount for the price of £6.59, or £8.24 if you don't have PS Plus. This is a procedurally generated first-person shooter that includes 4-player online co-op, and in the story you play a mercenary wielding an arsenal of guns, blades and magic to battle demonic legions. Up next is Shadwen. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a low price of £3.49. This is a stealth game where you play as Shadwen, an assassin on a quest to kill the king. But after a chance encounter with an orphaned young girl, you must now take her with you and protect her while accomplishing your mission. Next is Shyness, the Lightning Kingdom. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for a price of £2.39, which is pretty good. This is an RPG where you journey across a universe on the verge of collapse, and eventually crashing onto a planet, ending up stranded in the middle of a conflict spanning multiple kingdoms. Next we have Silence. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the price of £2.49, which is really good. It's a point-and-click adventure where you and your little sister hide in a bomb shelter from the war outside, but soon find the crossroads to another world that your sister vanishes into. So you must journey after her to bring her back home safe. Okay guys, that's all for part 2. I'll keep going and I'll see you in part 3. To be continued.